that's especially diabolical because why? You gotta be kidding me. It just gets worse. It gets worse. Hello, little enzymes. Welcome back to Dacia's Digest. The topic for today's video is going to be, let's say, being the third wheel, or getting left out, or moving on. I think all of those could probably cover the stories that we have. All of the stories will be included in the description. One of them is from our very own subreddit. Shout out to whoever submitted their post. Also, real quick before we start, I had on this sweatshirt in one of my other videos and there was some confusion as to what's going on my sweatshirt. This is a Law and Order SVU sweatshirt. It has Olivia Benson and Detective Stabler. Let me show you. This is the full thing. I thought it was a cool photo. I actually got it on TikTok. If you're interested, I'll put like the link to my TikTok, and if you go to my showcase, it'll be there. But they had like, you could do a hoodie or like a crew neck or just a regular shirt. They had like different options, but child, I got it on TikTok and I'll be wearing it. Anyway, so let's go ahead and start. We'll start with our community submission. So it says, am I the a-hole for moving and leaving my sister in a bad situation? A bit of backstory. First, a couple of years back, I, 24 female, was struggling for a bit when I was 20 years old and ended up staying with my sister, Kate, 32 female, for a couple of months. At the time, I was looking for a small apartment for myself when Kate convinced me to move next door into a 3-bedroom duplex. She was living on the other side with her fiance, her mother-in-law, and 4 kids. That's a lot of people. Where were the kids gonna? 3 bedrooms? Okay. She said which was a tight fit and she thought it would be a great idea for me to help her out and give 2 bedrooms to her kids. Okay. That makes more sense. I was finna say, that is not, I don't see how that was gonna work. So she manipulated you. She already knew that's what she was gonna ask you. Let me just keep reading. She said, Kate told me that she would pay me $100 per bedroom. I agreed because I wanted to help them after they helped me. She also wanted to move her washer and dryer over because the setup in my home was on the first floor compared to her home, which was in the basement. And that she would help with the water bill. Neither of those things happened. I ended up being stuck with a high water bill and no help with the rent. The situation became worse when Kate and her fiance would want to come do laundry at all times of the night. I didn't have an issue at first, but then Kate would begin to smoke in my house and help herself to my alcohol. I finally set a boundary that they needed to come wash during the day and they were not happy, to the point where they were upset that I locked my doors at night. Kate then started climbing through my window to get into my home. Okay, now she doing too much. She doing way too much, and to be honest, I would have moved out sooner if I was you, because she already was pushing it, talking about requesting 2 extra rooms at $100 a room. That's way below market rate. So you mean to tell me I have to cover most of the rent for this place and I only get to use a third of it, essentially? That's not fair. Then she coming over all hours of the night, drinking your libations, climbing in your window because you set boundaries, using up your water, not paying the water bill. This far exceeds the couple of months that they let you stay with them 4 years ago when you were college age. This is taking advantage to the X degree. And the thing about it is, I think she knew. I don't know your sister, and I can't say definitively, but I think she knew for sure. When she knew that you needed a place to stay and she was looking at this duplex, she already knew, oh, well, we can only afford a 3-bedroom. But if my sister's in the second part, she basically, we basically get 2 rooms free because it's my sister. That's not right, girl. That's not right. She continues and said, and even had her friend over when I was working one night. They spent the night drinking my alcohol and smoking in my home. We got into an argument the following day where Kate waved off all of my concerns and called me selfish because she needed access to my home. I did understand wanting access because of her kids, but I drew the line at her blatant disrespect towards me. She even took the opportunity to steal my house key. I only knew it was her because it was quite literally on her keychain. I took the key back, but she's basically denied ever taking it. Around May of 2024, our landlord let us know that he was selling the home by the end of the summer and that we needed to move. I was out by September and even gave Kate a heads up in August so she can gather her children's things. She decided to begin packing the day I moved out, and I truly didn't care anymore at that point. I've been in my new place for months and I love it. It's so quiet and clean now that I'm not picking up after everyone. But I got a call from Kate not too long ago. The house never sold. They want me to move back in next door because their home is too small for their growing family. I said no, but now I keep hearing snide remarks about how I don't care about my family, and I wanted your opinion. Am I the a-hole for moving out and leaving my sister in this situation? Also, I love your YouTube channel and I hope you read this. Oh, that's so sweet, girl. My little enzyme. I love you too, girl. No, you're not the a-hole. Definitely not. I mean, like, I get wanting to help out family and I feel like you went above and beyond. It ain't no way somebody's moving their washer and dryer into my place, coming into my place. Oh, I don't care who you are. You don't pay bills here. That's absolutely crazy. You have a place and then got her kids over on your side of the place. No. I'll just say try to stay living alone as long as you can. Well, I personally prefer living alone. I love not having, to have someone else here. And I think it's great, whatever you decide to do with your future plans, to at least have a season in life where you can experience living alone. So happy for you, not the a-hole. Whoever's making snide remarks, set some more boundaries. If it's the sister, then nobody cares what she thinks. But I still think, you can probably set some boundaries there. If it's other family members, you really, for real, need to set boundaries. Like, look, do you want to help her? Do you want to move in next door in the duplex? If not, I don't want to hear nothing else. And if you keep bringing it up, I'm not coming around. Definitely not the a-hole. There's no comments on this yet. So, little enzymes, you can either comment on the post or you can leave your comment down below to let her know what you guys think, and I will go to the next story. So this one is a little bit of a wild card. I just threw this one in here to make the video a little bit longer. I just found it, and I have a feeling that it's going to have an update. But I saw this on the Am I the A-hole subreddit, and it says, oh, I'm not even sharing my screen. Whoops. A lot of y'all don't even be watching the screen anyway, but my bad. The title is Am I the A-hole for ignoring my wife for throwing away my late wife's videotapes? This is not the first time we've heard of this happening. And every time I hear it, I just am floored as to why people think that this is a good idea. It says, I am writing this because I don't know what to do. I have a daughter with my late wife and her name is Eleanor. Her birthday is coming up in 2 weeks and she's turning 18. Background, me and my late wife, Chloe, had been dating since college. We got older and ended up getting married, and after our wedding, she shared news to me that she was pregnant, and I was excited that we were expecting our first child. Since it was our first child, we bought a video camera and made little tapes and snippets of her whole pregnancy. Wholesome things such as us joking around or having lunch or talking to our unborn child through the camera. We made a promise to only show Eleanor the tapes until her 18th birthday, so she's never even seen them. Fast forward 2 years after her birth, Chloe passed away due to a drunk driver crashing into her car as she was coming home from her mother's house. That's so sad. I was devastated of her passing and went into a deep depression and having to raise our 2-year-old daughter by myself. My friends tried to get me to go out again and start back dating, but every time I did, I felt like I was betraying her. Years later, when Eleanor was 13, I met Wendy. We met at a gathering for my sister's birthday and we instantly hit it off. She didn't mind that I had a daughter because she had 2 kids herself and just went through a divorce. 2 years after we got married, now back to the present. Eleanor's 18th birthday is coming up and I kept all of the tapes for me to show her. Mind you, her mother died when she was just 2, so Eleanor doesn't remember her touch or her voice. I was excited to show her the tapes. I have a personal connection to this because my mother passed away when I was only 5 months old. And pretty much everything that I have from her is videos, like tapes, and then, stories from family and pictures or whatever. So if I didn't have anything at all, and then I found out that my father's new wife threw them away, it would be really hard for me. If he didn't divorce her, it would be really hard for me to have a good relationship with my father after that if I was in that situation. It would be really, really hard. So he says, I was excited to show her the tapes, and a week ago I was talking to Wendy about it, and I noticed her expression going from happy to looking a bit uncomfortable. Wendy would always get uncomfortable when I talk about my late wife. I don't say things like, why can't you be like Chloe? Or Chloe was only supposed to be my first love. But I talk about her in a way to give my daughter a mental picture of how her mother was. Wendy has always talked to me about Chloe and how it made her sad that she can never be like her. Chloe was a model, then started working on her fashion career. And don't get me wrong, she was a really beautiful woman, while Wendy had 2 kids in college and not in the best shape due to her words. I love both women how they are, and I've never had a preference, but I feel like Wendy is gaining some jealousy towards Chloe. I told Wendy that I love her just the way she was, and she broke down crying. The next day after that incident, she came up to me and apologized for the way she acted last night. I told her it was okay, and it's good that she felt comfortable to share her feelings. And I gave her a tight hug and a kiss on the forehead. She asked to see where the tapes were at, and I showed her the box of videotapes of my late wife in the closet. Wait. He showed her the box of, so the videotapes were there at this point. They were still, in my head, I'm thinking, when she has this whole breakdown crying thing, I'm thinking she's crying from guilt that she had already threw them away, and he was talking about, his late wife, and she's thinking, I already threw them away. Did she throw them away after that? That's especially diabolical, because why? He said, things were going fine until yesterday morning. I was looking for the tapes because I wanted to put them in a prettier box for my daughter, and when I went to go find them, the box wasn't in my closet. I looked everywhere to the point I walked downstairs to see my wife laying on the couch watching TV. I asked her about the box, and she told me she threw it away in a neutral expression. My heart dropped, and I asked her what did she mean, and she told me that I talk about her too much. She told me that I talk about her too much and that I need to move on with my life, so she threw them away as a head start. You gotta be kidding me. I was fuming with anger because not only did she throw away what I had left of her, she threw away my daughter's big surprise. We quit, and with no remorse too. She just sitting there so apathetic, laying on the couch all normal. Oh, I threw it away. You need to move on. So dismissive about it because you're insecure of a dead woman. She's dead. She's not here. He done everything he could to try to reassure you. That's He said, we quickly got into an argument and she noticed how angry I was, so she started apologizing. It got to the point I started crying and locked myself in our bedroom. It's the morning and I'm writing this in my office, going through my computer, finding old files or any type of video of my late wife to give it to my daughter, because sometimes my daughter still cries that she never got to meet her mother, and I really thought it would bring her closer to her. I've been ignoring my wife for the past day, and she's been texting me nonstop about how sorry she is, but I really just can't look at her right now. It's getting to the point our mutual friends are texting me to accept her apology and get over it, since Chloe died over 10 years ago, but I'm trying to ignore them all because they never had someone so close to them die. I am working on finding these files and I'm starting to think I was overreacting. I don't know what to do and I really need help. I really hope you can find something. But even if he is able to find files, I just don't think I would be able to be with this lady anymore. Obviously to her, what's important to OP doesn't matter. Unless it's on her timeline, unless it's how she wants it, unless it's something that makes her comfortable, whatever OP wants to do doesn't matter, to the point where she will literally discard of things that mean something to him. Just so, like, flippantly discard without a second thought, and wasn't even remorseful until she saw that he was upset. What kind of psychopath is she? I just don't. I've seen in these stories, because like I said, this is not the first time this has happened. I've seen in these stories, one of them, they were able to overcome it and go to therapy and stuff. Obviously, the relationship between the new wife and the daughter was never the same. I can't remember what happened in the first one, but I really don't know. I really don't know. The first comment said, "Dear Lord, I'm honestly not one to advocate for divorce, but I do not think I could continue a relationship with someone who did something so wildly despicable. That isn't jealousy, that's a mental disorder. She stole the only vestiges of your wife that your daughter will have. This is not something you come back from or she can apologize for. This is a line in the sand." Exactly. Someone replied, "I doubt she's even sorry. Just sorry for herself that OP is ignoring her. It was all premeditated. Wendy needs a doctor and divorce papers." And then got all the friends texting. I want to know what exactly she told the friends. And also, why are the friends so much on her side talking about, oh, Chloe died 10 years ago. You can get out of my life too. Someone else said, "I believe this was premeditated, giving her asking where the box was. She, in essence, just killed your daughter's mother for a second time. Truly nasty, and she needs serious mental help." Yeah, and she definitely planned it, because why was she even asking, oh, where's the box? Why you need to know? Someone said, "I think OP should tell his current wife to do whatever she can to recover those tapes before daughter's 18th birthday, or you are done. That act was completely unconscionable, and there was only one way to make it right." And I would tell her, look, try to recover the tapes. Then from there, we can talk. Once she recovered the tapes, I'd be like, it's over. Thank you for the tapes. Bye. The next somebody replied, "I would only say that to her to manipulate her to get the tapes back. I would then hand her divorce papers." Exactly. That is crazy. Every time I hear these stories, I just am so flabbergasted. Oh, 3 hours ago. There's a small update 3 hours ago. He said, "I didn't expect this to blow up. I came on here to look for general advice, and now I have thousands of people talking in my DMs. I'm going to be answering some questions that I'm getting asked about the most. I was thinking about asking Wendy about the tapes and where she threw them out, but I saw a comment that told me not to ask her because it might give her some time to hide it or lie. Instead, when I went back home, I checked in the outside trash cans and the kitchen one, and I still couldn't find them. Trash day isn't until Thursday, so I was confused. I finally went up to ask her, and at first, she wasn't going to tell me. I threatened her with divorce, like one of you guys said, and she gave in. It turns out she kept the videotapes in her car. Oh, thank God. She kept the videotapes in her car. Wait. So she wasn't gonna tell? Wait, let me keep reading. She kept the videotapes in her car until trash day arrived because she knew I would look through the trash. So now I have the tapes, thank God. So even it just gets worse. It gets worse. You saw this man crying and locking himself in the room. You saw how angry he was. You claimed you were so sorry that you did this. All the while, you still had the tapes. So you could have resolved the whole thing. You easily could. Repentance was right there. You literally could have been like, I'm so sorry. Actually, like, I didn't even really throw it away. Like, it's in the car. So that tells me she wasn't really sorry. Again, like I said, she wasn't sorry. She saw how he was reacting. And that's what made her give up the tape. Oh yeah, it's over. It's over. This is open and shut case. He said another question asked was, did Eleanor know about the tapes? No, I didn't want to ruin the surprise until if I knew I had a backup. She didn't know about them now, and I'm not planning on telling her until her birthday. The only problem is that I'm afraid that Wendy might tell her. One more question is people asking if I'm considering divorce. Wendy never did anything like this before, and I don't want to ruin a 6-year relationship. But at the same time, I really do think she needs some type of help. I'm considering asking her to go to therapy, and I'm really considering our relationship. Wendy is really good with my daughter, and my daughter loves her and her children like family. I think Wendy is just trying to take Chloe's place with being Eleanor's mother. I'm really starting to think she has issues. A lot of people said if I don't divorce her, I will betray my daughter. My daughter is my number one, and I think I should find someone better that can respect not only me, but my daughter and her mother. I'm just still stuck on the fact that she had the tapes the whole time, and while she was just playing it up like she was so sorry and so remorseful, she didn't even mention that she still had the tapes. Like, it was too easy. It was too easy for her to be like, you know what? Actually, I messed up. I didn't really throw them away. I just had a moment of, if she would have shown that she had at least some sort of remorse, that would have made this whole situation, that would have made me more comfortable with him staying. But the way that she's acting, no. I mean, if he wanted to consider therapy, but. Top comment says, very glad you got the tapes back. The fact that she knew you'd go through the trash and thus kept them in the car, that's as smoking gun as it gets. That shows that she knew she was overstepping a boundary and you wouldn't be okay with it. It shows she knew you'd be upset and would want the tapes back. And she only gave in when she realized she was about to get divorced. Every part of this is 100% selfish on her part. She's happy to cause you and potentially Wendy lots of pain to satisfy her jealousy. As internet people, we only see what you tell us. That's why Reddit always tells people to break up at the sign of every problem, because we don't see the good times. We only see the problem that an OP describes. But even with that in mind, I think you need to have a serious, hard think about your marriage and how much, if any, trust you have in this woman. She was willing to destroy a personal message for your daughter from her dead mom out of jealousy. That's not a little jealous territory. That's serious violation of trust. She tried to destroy something that was truly irreplaceable, a memory of Chloe. She tried to seriously betray your trust and your daughter's. My suggestion is tell her that she needs to stay somewhere else until you decide what, if any, future the marriage holds. Tell her that the only reason you have any sort of decision to make is because she gave the tapes back. If the tapes had been lost, you would be divorcing her without question or hesitation. In your family, you don't destroy each other's stuff out of jealousy, especially something irreplaceable like a message from a dead mother. That is the action of a jealous and bitter narcissist, not a loving wife and stepmother. So, you need space from her while you decide what, if any, future you and her have together. In that time, you strongly encourage her to get some personal therapy to deal with her apparent extreme jealousy of a dead woman. I'd also suggest you should tell your daughter everything. I was thinking that too. They said tell her about the tapes and tell her that your wife tried to throw them away. Tell her that your wife was going to take them to the trash and only gave them back when you threatened divorce. Tell her that your trust was broken, that you are considering divorce, and if she doesn't want to see Wendy anymore, you'll understand and won't force her to. Tell her you still love Wendy, but you're not sure if the Wendy you love really exists because the Wendy you love would never do such an awful thing, especially to Eleanor. And then they had an edit. Also, forget the when she turns 18 thing. Eleanor, I think, needs to see those tapes now. 17 is close enough. She's a young adult, whether she hits the magic number or not. I pretty much agree with everything they saying. Like, I don't know. It would be very hard for me to trust someone like this because he's saying, oh, she's so great, she loves my daughter, da 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 da. But like this person is saying, the person you know her to be is a lie. I would feel like, because what kind of unstable person do you have to be to do something like that? It's not adding up. Child, that sure was a good one for a wild card random story that I found. Hopefully he has an update. So the last one also has an update. It's, am I overreacting for being upset that my 30 female, mother-in-law 65 female, and my husband 33 male made a huge decision without me? For clarification, I am beyond angry with both of them. I know they both had good intentions, but my thought process is currently, how freaking dare you? And I need to know if I'm being unreasonable or if I'm justified before I approach a conversation about it. For context, my husband is very nonsensical, very hardworking provider type man. He is stubborn and will not do anything he doesn't want to. So it's not like he was trying to please his mom. His mom is very blunt and in your face honest. Neither of them are manipulative or conniving in any way, and they're very good people. I have an amazing relationship with both of his parents, and this is so out of character for them. I know they have good intentions, they just did this all kinds of backwards. As for myself, I am anxious and easily stressed. I've lived a hard life and have a lot of choices taken from me in childhood and now need to be included in decisions, and I need to feel like it's equal in order for me to be okay. With that being said, I am also very honest and blunt and in your face. I am not submissive by any means, and I do not shy from confrontation. Sound like a lot of strong personalities in one family. She said, I am currently not in a stable work environment. Job loss seems to be just around the corner. If you stay up to date with news, then you'll know what I mean, but I have to be careful of what I say in regards to it. With that being said, our lease on our rental is coming up soon and we were wanting to buy a house, but it just seems to not be the time. We were looking at other rentals. Well, his parents bought a rental house and asked if we wanted to rent it. His mom messaged me about it first and I said, I didn't think it was a good idea. Later that day, I'm assuming, but have no confirmation on timeline of this, she called my husband and they both agreed that we would. He messaged me prior to agreeing with her and I again expressed I didn't think it would be a good idea due to current circumstances. I didn't outright say no. I did leave it up for debate, but I said I didn't think it was good. Well, after they both asked me, they both went around me and agreed we would. My husband didn't tell me this happened until a couple of days later and dropped it casually to me and said, I know you said no, but that was silly. I am fuming, raging, and shaking. I'm taking a moment because I'm trying to understand. I do understand being disappointed and like upset that he made this decision without you. I think that's very wrong. But I think with her history, it has amplified, I guess, her feelings, which is valid because, yeah. She said, I want to revert back to lashing out, but know that I cannot. It has been 2 weeks and I have yet to get to a point where I can communicate healthily, but it needs to be addressed, so I'm going to try my very best tonight. Am I overreacting? I feel like I was told, you silly little girl, let the adults make the decisions. Just sit down and be a submissive wife. Obviously, that's not what was said, nor what he meant. And I know they had good intentions, but I am so angry. I am finding it hard to focus on that. Am I overreacting for thinking it's absolutely insane to bypass me, leave me out of the conversation, and take my choice away entirely? In addition, how can I approach this in a way to which I won't destroy my relationship? Because at this point, I'm feeling vindictive and petty, and I don't want to hurt his feelings, but also not entirely sure if I can bite my tongue once I let the dam loose. I mean, so I definitely would be upset. I'm just trying to think, like, if I was living with someone and they just made a decision on where we were gonna live without me, I would definitely be upset. I guess it depends on, like, why doesn't she want to live there? And also, is the husband planning on paying most of the bills, like knowing the financial situation? I don't think I would be as mad as she is. Seem like, I mean, if the question is, am I overreacting? I would say like slightly, but she has a specific history that I don't relate to. That if that's how she react, that's how she react. I probably wouldn't react that way. And if somebody was like, oh, I know you said that, but that was silly, I feel like I would have responded in the moment and be like, what you mean? And kind of had a situation. She said it's been 2 weeks and she's so, shaken up that she can't even have a conversation about this. So that part seems a little bit, Some comments, someone said, sounds like a conversation must be had. You are a partnership, and with that, decisions should be agreed upon or at the very least discussed. Is renting your mother-in-law's place cheaper? OP responded, it's more expensive, which was a lot of my concern. That same person responded, with potentially losing your job soon, I wouldn't be happy with his decision to rent something more expensive. I think ultimately you should speak with him and really see where his head was at. But also he needs to understand that you need to be included in life decisions. I do agree with that. OP responded, that is the biggest thing for me. I may lose my job soon, and taking an increase in rent, regardless of with his parents or not, is not a good decision. I have been independent since I was 15. It cannot be expected by anyone that if I lose my job, they'll help float us. I've already been looking to get out prior to losing my job, but the job market isn't great, and I make good money, so most jobs in my area would be a huge pay cut. It's better than nothing, but would come with lifestyle changes for sure. I know they both had good intentions of it's better to be renting from them rather than a major corporation since they're family, but also I need to be privy to that conversation. I didn't outright say no. I said it wasn't a good idea and left it up for discussion, but they decided to have the discussion and make the decision without me, feeling very much like a child. I wonder if, because they did ask her first. So I wonder if her being so kind of like, oh, well, I don't think it's a good idea and not really giving a yes or no. I wonder if that was their signal to be like, oh, okay, well, I guess the decision is up to me. Because if, I don't know, maybe there was some miscommunication on that part. Because they both did initially reach out to her. So obviously they weren't trying to do it behind her back or anything. But maybe the way that she responded basically told them, gave them the go ahead. I don't know. I'm trying to understand what went down there, because she was very adamant that they, are very good people and all of these things. So I'm just trying to figure out. And then there's a comment from OP in response to a deleted user. She said, it's not the renting from them that's the major life decision. The issue lies with the fact that it's a move and rent would be more expensive with them. I'm in a marriage that requires equal financial decision making when equal money is put in. Okay, so they do split the bills. So That definitely should have been cleared by her. Someone said not overreacting, especially as it's more expensive. Renting from family is a bad idea to begin with. I agree with that as well. That person, and then this person says, I would also be very upset if they went behind my back with this decision. I could maybe handle it, a big maybe, if the rent would be cheaper. I do think it warrants a discussion between you and your husband, but maybe walk away if things get too heated. I don't know why your hubby thought increasing your housing costs would be a good idea with your job worries and the economy in general right now. OP responded, yeah, it definitely isn't ideal, but I have seen how good of landlords they are for their other rental properties. I'm saddened that with my potential job loss, we can't buy a house, but timing is everything and it will happen when it's supposed to. I'm not too keen on mixing family and housing, but honestly, my concern isn't even that, it's the finances. I definitely agree a discussion with him needs to be had, but my shyness to that is not knowing if I can keep it together enough for it to be healthy communication. That's the part where I think she's overreacting. Because, I do understand being upset. I don't understand being so upset that you can't have a simple conversation about this. For 2 weeks, you haven't been able to because you're just that upset. That's the part that I'm like, girl, take a chill pill. Just take a breath. It's gonna be okay. This is not a life or death situation. Just talk it out and see if y'all can come to some sort of a resolution. Tell him how you felt. Tell him your concerns. Lay it out. That's your husband. I'm sure he'll understand. There's no reason for you to be stressed, your blood pressure up. That's not healthy. She said, heading to my parents later to shoot my gun and hopefully burn off some anger beforehand. Wish me luck. Yeah, she needs to be in some therapy. Someone else said, a home should always be agreed upon. You can still tell him you don't want to and ask him to look at other options with you. As where it may seem silly to him, it is not to you. He might not realize your standpoint. Just be an adult and sit him down and be like, hey, I get you think it's a good idea, but I do not, and lay out why you think that. I do feel like you taking this and feeling vindictive and petty is a little wild, but to each their own. I feel like your intro already says that he doesn't treat you like you should be submissive and knows your personality unless there's something else. OP responded, he does not. He's an amazing partner outside of this, and I know for a fact he made this decision to take the stress off, but it inadvertently added more and made things harder for me. I have an amazing marriage. This is a first major issue, and we have been together for many years. He knows me very well, which is why I know he was trying to help. Haha. That's a vibe I got too, because her being like, to me in my head it went like this. Hey, babe. First of all, mother-in-law. Hey, darling, would you like to rent our house? Her. I don't think it's a good idea. Him. Hey, babe, would you like to rent my parents' house? Her. I don't think it's a good idea. We could just leave it open for discussion. Him. Okay. Looks like she doesn't really want to make a decision, so I'll go ahead and just take this off her plate. Yeah, Mom, we'll go ahead and rent the house. That's how I I'm thinking of it. And then she's like, what? You decided to rent the house? I'm gonna go shoot my gun. And it's like, whoa, let's reel it in here. Let's reel it in a little bit. Just a little bit, because I understand being upset. And I also understand the marriage partnership aspect. So these things should be discussed and finalized between the both of, people. But goodness gracious, call your therapist, sis. So she continues with her comment, I have a tendency to take things too far sometimes. The pettiness is ridiculous at times. He's never been on the receiving end of it, and I am trying to avoid him ever being on the receiving end. When I get hurt, my initial thought is to lash out. I'm self-aware enough to know this, and that's why I wanted second opinions on whether I was justified and what was too much. Thank you for your input. Someone else said, I don't think you're overreacting per se, because it's crazy to settle on location to live without your agreement. However, your wording here sounds very, very aggressive. I'm assuming you're in therapy because it feels like you had a very difficult childhood and lots of trauma. I don't know if you have children, but if you don't, it seems like perhaps you should draw a line in the sand here. Given the intensity of your comment, it just sounds like there is a lot going on, not just with your housing, but also with you and your relationship. I wish you luck. OP responded, it most definitely is aggressive. There are children involved. I am indeed in therapy. I had a hard childhood and hard early adulthood. I've been in therapy for years and am medicated. I definitely revert to unhealthy actions and responses, which I try incredibly hard to limit within my marriage. We don't have any other issues other than this that would cause anything on my end. It's this sole issue, which is why I have waited so long to have a conversation, because I don't want to taint my relationship with my trauma. It's not his fault that I have these things in my mind and the triggers. It's not even my fault. It, however, is my responsibility to heal that and move forward and be healthy. Can you pinpoint what specifically I need to tone down before addressing this with him? That person responded, I think you should focus on the financial aspects and really talk that through. Will his parents lower the rent in the event things go sideways professionally? Will you have enough space in the event that they overstep on visits, etc.? Is there potential that this is a rent-to-own situation long term? It's possible he sees this as a safe landing spot given the possibility for professional issues. Just based on this post, it is difficult to suss out how much of this is you wanting control and feeling like living with your in-laws subverts. I think that was a good comment. OP responded, I do agree that I need to focus on the financial aspect. That is a lot of my concern. I wouldn't say it's more so the control and it being connected to the in-laws. They are genuinely amazing and I have had such a great relationship. I text back and forth with my mother-in-law daily. I don't have much concern with them being the landlord. Although I have always been on the side of renting from family isn't the best thing, I am open to it if we can have an action plan for if things go sideways with my job. That's my biggest concern. Second biggest would be the fact that, in my opinion, it's totally disrespectful to completely exclude me from a conversation and decision about my life and my finances. I'm a wife, not a child. This decision should have included me. The lack of control over my own life currently is definitely related to childhood trauma, and I think that is where a lot of my hurt and anger is coming from. Because my husband is my safe space, he has been an amazing partner through my healing journey, and I feel like this was a slap to the face. Obviously, I know that wasn't his intention, but the hurt and anger is still there regardless of intent. I did a lot of thinking and reflecting yesterday. I think I'm ready to talk to him now. I tried yesterday and got too escalated before I could even get to genuinely talk to him about it. I separated myself, reflected, and figured out what is what and why I am feeling this way. I got to a good point emotionally. Now it's a matter of wording it in a way that makes sense to someone not in my brain. I really appreciate your input. Thank you. So now to the update. Okay, so thank you all for the words of advice and the validation. I sat with my anger and hurt, and I had a therapy appointment that helped me immensely. I was able to get a point of understanding and started problem solving. I was very distanced and reserved the last 2 days, trying my best to separate the hurt from anger and find the root of what triggered that within me. I was able to, which allowed me to get to a point where I can problem solve. I came up with a solution for all of my hesitancies, and then I told him I would like to talk. I shared how it made me feel being excluded. I told him why I reacted the way I did and why I had to distance myself for a couple of days while I figured my stuff out. I told him I never want to get to a point where I let my trauma hurt him. I was very apologetic, explained that I never said no, just that I didn't think it was a good idea, and that I would have appreciated if he had come to me with his thoughts so we could figure it out together. He apologized again and expressed that he sees how it was wrong of him explained in the moment he didn't see it as excluding me, but that he was trying to help. I validated that and let him know that I appreciated him trying to help and that I am thankful for that, but that I need to be included in these decisions. I talked to mother-in-law, and apparently she threw the idea to him to get his thoughts just like me, and she wasn't aware a decision had been made. She thought we were talking about it, and we would look at the house and let her know. He must have told me, yes, we're moving, and told her he would figure it out and let her know. She said she would help me with getting the kids to school 30 minutes away for the last month of school, so they don't have to switch schools so close to the end of the year, which was a major concern for me. I feel reassured there and very happy to know my assumptions of her not doing things to go around me were correct. See, I knew it was all gonna be fine. The way she was talking them up in the beginning, I was like, I don't think they really was trying to go around her like that. OP says, I raised concerns of my potential job loss, to which he says, you can work part-time for a while to do your schooling and focus on getting the kids to and from, and it will be fine. When you're ready, we can talk about you going back to work, but I see this as God giving us an opportunity to let you follow your dreams, and I want that for you. I want you to be free enough to do your schooling. My goal isn't for you to contribute equally. I will take care of us. You do what you want, not what you think I want you to do. We will be fine if that happens. And then she says, I cried, LOL. Overall, everything is okay and the world is not ending, and I was able to self-soothe and regulate by myself, which may not seem like much for a lot of people, but when I started my healing journey, I was told that I had no emotional intelligence or capacity to regulate. I have come so far, and being able to express myself in a healthy way was amazing. He commended that, said he sees how hard I'm working to heal my past and that he is so happy for me. My husband is my biggest supporter always. He is an amazing partner to me, and I appreciate those of you who called me out on the pettiness. I feel validated by my person, by you all, and I feel better after talking. Looks like it's time to start packing. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for everything. Shout out to the husband. Shout out to the husband. He seems very understanding. The fact that he really is like focused on being a partner and is willing to, cover what he can cover so she can do what she want to do. Also, shout out to her. She going to therapy, trying to figure out her childhood trauma so she can show up better in the home for her husband and her kids. OP, I wish you well. I'm proud of you. The way, I was a little worried at first. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, she tripping a little bit. But you reeled it in. You took a step back. You made a therapy appointment. You got back to it. Y'all was able to work it out. It's gonna be okay. That's on healthy relationships. So I'm looking, I actually didn't select a palette cleanser for today. It was taking me too long to find one, to be honest. And I was like, the video is never gonna get done if I just keep scrolling, trying to look for a palette cleanser. Because the thing about palette cleansers, one, I have to find one that's like really interesting to me. Two, I have to find one that doesn't have copywritten music. So there's a lot of videos that I like that I cannot use because it's copyright, which sucks because that eliminates a lot of options. Anyway, so a lot of times actually spent probably more on finding the palette cleansers than the actual stories. So yeah, sorry, no palette cleanser for today. I hope you don't mind. So that was the last story. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video.